Hey guys, it's Anzi, so welcome to another video. I haven't been uploading as frequently as I used to in this YouTube channel because your girl got a job, she's employed, and I have been really busy, so it's an enjoyable work and I like it, and I feel blessed that I was hired for doing something that I'm passionate in, even if it's not like directly related to art. But I want to expose more about that. For today's video, I'm just gonna be talking about more art stuff, and more specifically the process of me creating this illustration, which is of my twin OCs. I call them the weed twins for fun with my friend. It's Clover and Sage. Sage is the girl, Clover is the boy, although I had a bit of an issue about which one's which because Sage and Clover are both kind of gender neutral names, so I was a bit not really sure about which character gets which name. I don't know, Clover just like went into my head for some reason and I mean initially it was gonna be like clove, but then I was like cloves of garlic, that's just weird, so I just went instead with Clover as like lucky, and then I went and searched for another plant that was kind of in the same realm as Clover and found Sage. So Clover and Sage are twins, and they kind of have supporting character energy. Like if you watch the webtoons, these are the sorts of if you read webtoons, these are the sorts of characters that you kind of feel relieved seeing. They're usually like the comedic relief aside from the main character's own comedy, and they're often very not really pivotal, but they help the main character with their struggles. They're the people that support the main character financially, emotionally, the kind of thing. And these two I kind of just headcanoned as like those eccentric rich kids, but they're also down to earth because they're kind of old money. I kind of had a whole like lore for these two. Basically, their parents are old and they were hoping for like a miracle baby, and so they got Clover and Sage. Initially, they didn't know that they were twins because it's one of those situations, or I don't know, maybe this is fictional, I don't know if it happens in real life, but I've read about it somewhere in some fics, in some novels where the twin hides, and so they think that it's just one child, but then there's actually two, that kind of thing. Initially, the baby was just Clover, so Clover is the older brother of the twins, and they named him Clover because it's lucky, he's a miracle baby, he's lucky, and but then Sage came in and they didn't really know what to name Sage at first, but she seemed a lot more composed in contrast to Clover when he came out. You know, those kinds of babies, there are like different temperaments to babies when they come out of the womb, I believe. Like some babies cry, some babies wait a bit before they cry, I think. I don't know, I just read too much Megaverse. But that's sort of something that I came across at some point, and it's a fictional world where that kind of thing happens, and so they kind of just named Sage because of that. Like they feel like this girl has some major wisdom shit going on with her. I won't disclose anymore because like that's as far as I go with the plot that I'm sure about them, that they're miracle babies, and Sage is the younger sister but more evolved, and Clover is the more eccentric of the two of them, but he's also sort of down to earth. These two just like blend with each other well, they bring each other up and they humble each other down. Like if Clover was born as an only child, he would be one of those spoiled rich kids, but because he has like Sage for a twin, his personality is kind of like watered down a bit. And similarly with Sage, if she were like born as an only child, she would be one of those like introverts, bookworms, just like existing in their own little space in the world. But because of Clover's innate wild child characteristics, it also pulls Sage out of that isolation and helps her bloom just a little bit more. Now for their designs, I initially started doing these characters. I initially wanted to draw blue-haired characters. Well, not really blue-haired, but I wanted to try doing some like hyper pop themed characters. I don't know, during February I had a whole like hyper pop sort of phase because my theme back then was to be colorful and use more colors of sort, like holographic themes. I was on a whole phase of being like, I want everything to be colorful, and I had this idea of characters who had blue and a gradient colored hair like you would see in webtoons, but my art so far has just been very tethered towards real life, and whenever I paint my character's hair, I'm always like, what kind of hair would they realistically have? Like, do they dye their hair often? So are they like bleached blonde? Do they have overgrown roots? Like, it's always tethered towards reality. And I've been reading a lot of webtoons that had that sort of like concept of like, it doesn't matter what their hair is, because it's more like just a storytelling thing, that the main character or some of the characters always have these like very colorful hair. Some of them have silver, purple hair, that kind of thing. And I wanted to do that as well and just sort of go out of what I usually do. So I was like, I want to draw characters with colorful hair, hence the birth of, initially they were called the blue-haired twins in my folder, but I did since name them Clover and Sage, as I've already mentioned before. So I haven't really been able to do art lately. Not that it's a loss, I think that I've been super stressed out and lost with what my goals are, because I've been unemployed since graduation last year. And well, I'm not really unemployed, but freelancing does take a toll on you when you're a fresh grad and you don't have as much like job experience. I was feeling some semblance of feeling left behind, because I was like lacking this experience that people my age, my peers, especially those who are closely around me, not just like worldwide, are doing. Like, they have jobs, they seem to have their careers in order, and I just wanted that kind of stability. So I thought in my head that freelancing was gonna be that for me. I was gonna be doing freelance for a while, but some things happened that directly impacted my ability to freelance, so I just gave up on it. I'm also grateful that by that time, when that incident happened, I did get a job. Like, I got hired, and still I'm super grateful for it. So and it's again in a position where I'm able to still be creative but not directly creative. So event that took out my ability to freelance really traumatized me, and so nowadays I feel really anxious whenever I touch my stylus. Even just like looking at it makes me nauseous. So I've been starting to get back into it, and I thought something simple like this, just with characters that I'm comfortable with, that I loved, and with outfits that I kind of am comfortable with drawing as well, because it's sometimes fine to explore and experiment outside of what you're doing as a form of like improving your artwork. But there are times when you just want to do art for the sake of like just doing art, you know, like you just want to draw what you want to draw, and it's not always like a time to be experimental. So I think that's also like just a tip out there for artists who are like having this sort of dilemma with their lives. It's just sometimes your art doesn't have to be experimental or explorational. Sometimes it can just be art for the sake that you're happy with what you eventually get, and that it just satisfies you in that way. I don't actually know what these kinds of aesthetics outfits are called, what category these are, but I just call them black and white Clover and Sage in my head. I have like a Pinterest board for it. I also fixed the hair that I couldn't figure out back then. You'll see in the previous iterations of Clover and Sage that I wasn't really sure where to go with the direction. Initially, the first draft of their bust colors were like purple, but then that's why I'm kind of confused, because I feel like I color graded it a little bit too much. Like I added a color gradient layer trying to fix the gradient, and it turned out to be purple, and I just forgot that I turned it into purple, and the next time I drew them they had blue hair, because in my head I trademarked them as like blue haired babies. So they're stuck with that. I don't care that it was purple at the start. It's just gonna be blue hair now with purple accents at the bottom. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little rambling session on the art as well. I post my art casually over on my Instagram, and most frequently I am sharing a lot of stuff on my Threads account. So if you want to stay connected with me and just like interact with me, I'm over on those platforms. I no longer feel like I'm gonna be pursuing my art career at this point. I'm just gonna go the professional route and see where a corporate job takes me. So thank you for being with me through my journey, and I'll still share with you my journey, but yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.